Welcome to this tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to draft a basic bodice for beginners. It is totally beginner friendly and very easy to understand. I'll be making use of my marker, my tape, my 36 inches ruler, and this curve. This is actually affordable. I bought this one for just 500 naira. So you can get it. It makes your work look professional. So I'll be making use of these things. I'll just go ahead to explain what I've done on the paper, because as you can see, I've drawn out some lines. I'm just going to explain what I've done. So here I just took my body measurements and added some allowances. The bust I'm working with is 34 inches, and 34 inches divided by 4 will give you 8.5. That's what I did here, and I added extra 1 inch. You can add extra 2 inches or 3 inches. I later realized I was supposed to add more than that. So if you want to make yours, you can just make it extra 2 inches or extra 3 inches. So that's exactly what I did here. 8.5 plus 1 inch, making it 9.5, as you can see. Then this other part is my zipper allowance, which is 1.5, and that's exactly everything I've done here. So now we just start drawing out our horizontal lines. I'm working with bust 9.5, like the shoulder to the bust is 9.5, and I'll just mark it out on the front part. This first part I'm drawing on now is the front part, and the other side the back pattern plus the zipper allowance, like I said. So I'm just going to bring out the 9.5, which is my shoulder to my bust. I'll do the same for the back pattern now. So that's exactly the same thing, 9.5, and I'm just going to trace it down to the back pattern. And that's it. So now I'll be taking the shoulder to the under bust, which is 12.5. Shoulder to the under bust, 12.5. I'm just going to use my marker to trace it out, 12.5, and I'll do the same at the back. And I'll connect these lines again. Please don't forget to subscribe. I forgot to mention it. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I upload tutorials like this. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you like it. So I've just done that. I've taken my shoulder to the bust and the shoulder to the under bust. Now I'll be taking from my shoulder to the waistline, which is 16. Sorry, I didn't know it wasn't showing here. I'm just going to mark out 16 like I've done in the other side. Then for the back part, this time around is not 16. Just watch what I'll be doing. I'll be explaining it soon. I didn't know this part wasn't showing. I just took 16 inches. That's exactly what I've done here. Remember, the back pattern and the front pattern are not always the same measurements if you know how to take accurate measurements. So I'm just going to show you now. For the front part I use 16. For the back I'm going to use 14, because the back and the front are never the same, especially for someone that has bust. If you're working with a male, measurement, or you're making something for kids without bust, then it can be the same thing. But for ladies with busts, it is not going to be the same, because just as you know before now, or even if you don't know, there's a rope you normally tie at the half length of your client to determine the difference between the back pattern and the back measurement and the front measurement. So that's just what you're going to do. Tie the rope at the navel or the half length, which I'll be showing you in this picture. This is exactly what you should do. Then you take your shoulder to the half length in the front side. You notice it is not the same with the back. There's always a difference, and the difference between mine is 2 inches. That's why the front pattern, my half length is 16 inches and the front pattern is 14 inches. So now I'm just going to take my chest line, which is 7. and I'm going to trace it. I'm going to connect these lines from the front to the back pattern. This is actually my first video here, so I promise to make better ones as time goes on. So I'm just going to label it as the chest line, the bust line, the under bust line, and the waist line. So here you notice it's the same thing I'll be doing here, the waistline. I just underline just that one. And now I'll be showing you how to take this, to take your body measurement on your pattern. Now since you've already brought out your pattern is ready, and it's now time to take your body measurement, to place your body measurement on your pattern. So just start taking my body measurements. Remember I said my bust measurements is 34. So I just went over to the shoulder. The shoulder I'm working with is 15. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. Then I added ½ inch for my sewing allowance, and that made it 8. So I'm just taking from the center front like that. Sorry, the paper wasn't showing well. Center from 2, and I took 8 inches. And for this other side, I'll be leaving. I won't take it from the zipper line. No, this is the line I'll be taking it from. Just the way I took it from this front, this zipper, after the zipper line, also the center back. I don't know if you understand. This from after the zipper line, I'll be taking my 8 inches like that. As you can see, remember the 15 inches for the shoulder divided by 2 is 7.5. And then ½ inch. So now I'll be taking the neckline. I use 3 by 3, which is the standard measurement for the front neckline, but it doesn't mean you have to make yours like this. It depends on the neckline you're working with. So the one I'm working with, I'm just using 3 inches by 3 inches, and I'm going to use this curved rule to bring out the shape of the neck like this. It is advisable you get this exact curved rule if you can afford the other one. This one is quite affordable. This is just 500 naira in the Nigerian currency. So I'm just going to do the same. I'm taking 3, and this time around 1 inch for the back, because I'm not using the same depth. So I'm just using 1 inch, and if you watch the way I'm placing I'm not placing it like that because it will be too deep. So watch what I'll be doing here. Connected it with my curve again. You can see how beautiful it is. That's just what I'll be doing. And now I'll be taking the armhole, the length of the armhole. Sorry, I'm going to take the curve, this shoulder slant first, and I'm using 1.5 for this. Then you use your ruler, connect it from the shoulder line to that place, just like that, and that's how you've gotten your shoulder slant. I'm going to repeat the same process for the back pattern. Remember to stop where your 8 inches is, exactly like that. So now I'll be taking the armhole measurement, and I used 8. So I'm just going to take my armhole measurement, which is 8, and I'll be repeating it for the back pattern too. I'll draw a straight line just so you see this. You can avoid taking it from the top, though. You can just take it from where the shoulder slant started from. Now I'll just be making a straight line connecting it so that you see how I'll be bringing out the shape of my armhole with this curve. So I'm just going to place it on that line, as you can see, and I'll be placing it very well, and I'll be using it to bring out the curve of my armhole. As you can see, ½ inches has gone in, which is how it's just supposed to be. Like that, and I'll be repeating the same pattern for the back too. can see how neat the curve looks because I'm working with a curve. So you want to make sure you're working with a curve. So this will give you a professional look. So I'll just be curving it like that for the back pattern too, like this, as you can see. You can see how beautiful it is, how neat and professional it's looking. This is why it's called pattern drafting. We're not working with freehand method here. We're making use of our curves and our rulers. So now I'll just start taking my body measurements from the center front, as you can see. Remember I said my bust is 34, divided by 4 is 8.5. That's what I'll be taking here. I just went ahead to take my bust first, sorry. I used 4 inches for this, from the center front to, I just took 4 inches from the center front, and that's what I'll be working with as my dart placement. So I'll repeat the same process for the back pattern too. This is actually my first tutorial here. Maybe that's why I'm kind of making mistakes, but I hope to make better videos with time. So I'm just going to take the same thing from the center back, which is just after the zipper allowance, and I'll be making use of 4 inches too, like this. I'm just going to connect the dotted lines. So you can see what I've done here. I'm just going to bring out the dart now. At first I wanted to work with 0.75 inches, which is a 3/4 on your tape. You should know how to read a tape before starting to take body measurements. But I later ended up using 1/2 inch on both sides. So watch what I'll be doing here. I just took 1/2 inch on both sides, and I'll be connecting it to the bust point. I repeated the same process for the front pattern. So what I did here, I went down from the bust line by 1/2 inch. I didn't want to connect the dart to exactly the bust point, so I went down by 1/2 inch, and that's exactly what I'll be using for both patterns. You can decide to place it exactly on your bust point, depends on what you want. But for this, I'll be working with 1/2 inch below the bust point. I couldn't see the line I was tracing because I didn't want my head to come out from the camera, so that's why I was just having shaky hands. So when you're doing yours, make sure to focus. If you don't have a camera watching you, just make sure you focus and do your thing. So just be connecting it like that. I went ahead to reconnect the other side because it didn't get to the bust, the points I marked out. So now it is even. And it's time to take my body measurements. So this part I've been waiting for, that I've always been mentioning before now. I'll be taking my bust measurements now, which is 8.5 inches. Remember, 34 inches divided by 4, 8.5. This is where I made the mistake. I was supposed to add more than that for the allowance. So you can see I just had just 1 inch remaining, which was supposed to be my exact measurement before adding extra. So when you want to work with yours, when you're dividing your paper, you can just go with your bust measurements divided by 4, and after adding your extra 1 inch or 1.5 inch or 2 inches to give extra space for your paper, so your back pattern and your front pattern are not exactly on the same line, like they're not touching each other like mine is doing here. That's a mistake I made. So I just went to the under bust. I took my under bust measurement is 27, which is 6.75, and I added 1 inch. As you can see, 6.75, added 1 inch, and I replaced the dart measurement. I took what was in the dart and I placed it back. I replaced the measurement, because if you just go ahead to cut exactly what you have without replacing your dart measurements, you will be left with, you notice to be having shortage. So when you're taking your measurement, after placing your tape on the bust, the area you're working with, you have to make sure you take After taking the measurements, you add your allowance, then go back to replace. Just measure from the dart, from one dart leg to the other dart leg, to know exactly what to be adding back. That's why you can see I have thread dots there. That's what I'll be doing. I've just connected all the lines. Remember what I said, always replace your darts. Whatever you have in the middle of the darts is what you should be working with. So you can see these places were just touching each other, which is not supposed to be so. But with time, I hope to make better videos. So don't forget to subscribe to be notified whenever I upload a new video. You can see I just had there's something I'm explaining here, that you just want to make sure you leave extra allowances. So I just want to connect this neckline, which I forgot to do earlier. So I've done that, and this is what it looks like. If you have any questions, if you have any questions, you can just leave it in the comment section and I'll answer it. And if you have anything you want me to work on, if you have any suggestion on what I should work on, you can also suggest that, so I can work on it on my next video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you on my next video. Bye.